Hey everybody, it's Frank, and we've got another couch-casted episode of Stormgate for you all. This one submitted by Phlebuster, who is on a call with me right now, and he's going to be talking to us about IVI on patch 0.2.1 on Boneyard. Phlebuster, please say hello.
Hello, hello. I
Good.
don't remember what happens in this game, so I'm very curious to see.
It's going to be a new experience for the both of us, I think.
Yes.
Okay, so you grab the cabbage. Is that just to deny it for later on, or just kind of bored?
Yeah,
You wanted to
exactly.
grab
I
it?
always try to grab the cabbages near the enemy base when I'm doing the scouting, so they will have less healing available.
Mm. Okay, so you come
And of
down.
course, against Vanguard, I also do it on my side, so the dog can't heal.
So you come down, you see that the shrine just started. What is that? What information does that give you?
Well, it basically just tells me that I don't need to worry about any early aggression. That's the most important thing to check in the early game. So I can just do my normal macro opening.
Gotcha. And the fact that his hexen came down and like, there's not really much threat of any damage being done by a single hexen, right?
Indeed, indeed. It's pretty ignorable. On Boneyard, especially those vision camps are very important, and I think a lot of the game is gonna come down to the control of them.
Yeah. Let me turn down the game noise so we can hear you. Sorry about that, everyone. Sound master volume. We'll bring it down to 80. $75. Okay. I just don't want you getting your voice drowned out here. Oh, and he keeps the brute alive. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, in general, you should never lose the brute on the first health camp.
So I know Vanguard players like to they'll cycle out units just so they don't all get hit by the radioactive blood debuff, which I believe it's minus 25. Yeah, it's minus 25 armor per stack of the debuff. Do you try to cycle out units when you do that, or is it just doesn't really matter that much?
No, I just worry about splitting the fire so that one unit doesn't take all of the enemy fire.
Not the fell hog. Oh, that poor little fiend is just running around trying to do his best.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh well.
Bad thing sometimes does miracles.
Yeah. We'll give him a break. He only has one elbow and one kneecap. He'll be alright. Okay, so we see LeinY over here going for a shrine next to the double therium.
Yeah, that's a very interesting one. I don't usually go for that expansion in the early game because you just can't really use that much therium.
So you think it's a
Like
little bit too early to be building this
I
expansion?
usually go for Luminite first. The fact that he's going for that probably means that he's going to do like very heavy macaron pressure or something like that. That he's going to need a lot of therium for.
Gotcha. Okay, so now you've both got a bit of an army. Not like an army, but enough to that you might actually be able to do you might actually be able to engage a little bit. This is something else that I think is a little bit odd to me. If you put down a an effigy right here, would that be able to that shroud goes down onto the low ground, right? And then you benefit from
Yes,
both the
absolutely.
health camp and shroud? Okay. Just making sure. Oh, and he's putting a shroud stone, or you're putting down a shroud stone as well. This also bugs me. I think shroud should go up ramps.
Yeah, I
It's
totally
very
agree.
strange that it doesn't go up ramps for me.
Yeah, you get used to it, but when I started playing, it was definitely one of my pet peeves.
Okay, so you've got good vision. You see he's got multiple hexen, so that must tell you that he's got. Is he going for mastery training?
Well, I mean, he has to be. There's no reason to go for multiple hexen if you're not going for miasma, basically.
Yeah. I remember very early on, Theory had a really interesting build where he would drop hexens and he would make like 6 venom traps inside of the worker line, and then just turn them all into fiends immediately, and it was really cool. Like he min maxed it. He knew that you needed only like I think 4 Hexen to lay down 6 Venom traps, and then it would like kill an entire Bob line or something. It was kind of cool.
I think I saw someone use that in a tournament game like once, and it didn't work unfortunately, but it was fun to see.
Yeah. I like seeing crazy little builds like that. Another thing that I think is interesting about this this shrine so early on in the game earlier on is that if you build it closer to the Therium patches as it's building out, you can have these little bubbles right next to the shrine, so there's like no return trip required for the imps. But
absolutely.
I noticed a lot of people like they don't like micro their imp to build the shrine like right next to the stuff. And I think that's a benefit that Infernal players could like really pay off dividends for, or they could really reap the rewards of paying attention to that one imp micro to get the shrine. Oh, here's your first Magmadon.
Yeah, that shrine placement is actually something that I have been advocating heavily for, and I actually messed it up myself on the third base here, so I probably sent that imp long distance building the shrine instead of just first walking there and then building the shrine, so I didn't see where the Therium actually is. But I personally always build it next to Therium when I can.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is another thing that's really interesting. So the resource camps especially are so valuable. Just for the amount of resources that they give you, and they free up your workers to do other things. But I noticed that a lot of people don't guard their resource camps with anything. Like it's just open for the taking. And here, okay, committing 2 brutes to guard it is kind of nice, but still, like I almost never see static D there. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think those brutes are like bait. You can see that his army is standing back there, so he kind of hopes that I might engage just the brutes, and then he can jump on top of me.
Yeah, that is a lot of Hexens. That is so many Hexens.
This was very early in the patch, like I remember that much.
Wow.
People were still experimenting. That is a lot of miasma.
That is such a parade of... It's the nerd parade of spellcasters. Oh, and he's got a Hellborn in the back too, which is actually like the perfect counter to so many Gaunts. But did he use all of his energy? No.
Not with that many Hexen.
No, yeah, he still has 2 Hexen that are full on energy. That is so many. Oof. And is there Molten Touch on these guys? No, not yet. But your Gaunts are fully upgraded, so
very
that's
interesting to run into.
Yeah. Man, that seems like it'd be really hard to engage. Unless you have some kind of a good like anti-light flying unit, which the Infernals don't have.
Yeah, he definitely got the advantage of me at this point, like you got his supply. But the issue with his army is that it doesn't have any actual DPS. I mean, very little actual defense, like 2 health points pretty much. So it's very hard to actually push into a base with that.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point. I never thought about that. Like, he can do fantastic damage against an army, but if he pushes forward and then he can't do damage to structures, then what's the point, you know? So okay, he does have 2 Hellborn out. That'll certainly rip through structures, or start to anyway. But oh man, that's just so many Hexen. Like, I don't even know how you engage into that.
Well, I think Mass Magmaron is pretty good against that army composition.
Yeah.
Because it kind of counters Miasma. Like, actually, I didn't even notice at this point, but even though Miasma is not channeled, you can actually interrupt it with Magmaron at cast time. And if you stun during that cast time, the Hex loses the energy but never uses the spell.
Wait, did you say that you can cancel a Miasma?
Yes. That's like I'm not sure, like 0.5 seconds or 1 second cast time, and if you stun during that cast time, the Hex actually loses the energy but doesn't cast the spell.
Ah, okay, but so that means that you have to catch them as they're casting it, though.
Yes, but since the Magmon is doing like so many micro stuns, it's actually very effective at stopping Miasma.
Oh, that's cool.
I didn't know it at this time. I only figured that out like a few days ago. Because there was no mention of any kind of like cast type for the spell in the patch notes.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, I think I like... I don't think that Miasma should be channeled. But maybe like a longer cast time, just so it's not... I don't know. It seems like if you can... With that many Hexen, if you can just blanket a huge area with Miasma, that seems a little bit strong right now. Or maybe not too strong, but like... not fun to play against. I'm sure the other races probably think it's too strong. But,
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely good in Infernal as Infernal, but it's probably not as good as in the other matchup, because you're always fighting on Shroud, so you have the Shroud regeneration, the white health.
Yeah.
And also, if you're fighting like Magmadons, they're all like big units, they will only give like 1 feed when they die, so it's not that significant.
Oh, you got the tendons as well. That's always interesting. It's kind of hit or miss when I see Infernal players whether or not they get the next upgrade for the Magmadons. I think they always should. Like it's so good just to catch armies that are a little bit faster than them, especially with upgraded gaunts or with lancers that have full stacks on kinetic redirection. Like there's no reason not to. Oh man.
Yeah, this is a very interesting situation because he has the dragon, I don't, and I'm just like when this happens, it's kind of done pretty fast. But basically, the priority is just to keep the pressure on with the Magmadons, so that even when units are dying, the fiends don't get to like snowball.
Yeah.
Indeed, indeed.
Little smiley face there. No, he missed it. He didn't get the cabbage. Oh man, that was a good connection for his Nightfall though.
And of course I do have Miasma 2 at this point, but I haven't been using that many Hexen for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, about the Magmadon upgrade, against Infernal it's not that important because Infernal units are all clover, so you can catch them otherwise too. But against Vanguard, of course, it's very important.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting. You're still really far forward with your Hellborn here, but I think that's because he doesn't have much anti-light, so it doesn't matter if you can't retreat that fast. He just doesn't have the DPS to like take care of all these Hellborn. But man, your Hellborn are just getting so much damage done. All right, so is this so now you guys are reasonably close in army supply, but man, you have so much more therium. How are you getting this much therium?
It's probably because I took my double therium expansion late.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it might just mean that I'm not mining enough Luminite, so
yeah,
that's
maybe.
another way to look at it. And he has been expanding a lot, so he's definitely not out of the game at this point.
It looks like you've taken more of the map though. Like he's got his what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Base, actually.
Is he? Ah, he has 2 right here. Okay.
I guess we are pretty even, but yeah. But these vision caps are so important because you can instantly see if there's an expansion on the forward location when you cap it. So that's so powerful.
I wondered about that too. Like, as an Infernal player, you're just more easily scouted wherever you are, just because you rely on the Shroud so much. that
You can see, yeah. You can see I actually pumped my extra Ethereum into just getting more beavers because I didn't have any Luminite to make anything else. And it's kind of cool at this point because there's so many Macarons on the field.
yeah, you just have to dump that Ethereum into something. Just get some kind of a unit on the field, and
Yeah.
Weavers are still pretty tanky even after their nerf. And actually, Weavers are a fantastic counter to the Magmadon since they're going to be doing percent max health to that really tanky unit. But cost-wise,
As long as the army size isn't like huge, they're still pretty good. Like they're good in a 1v1 battle against Macarons, of course.
Yeah.
But if there's 10 Macarons, then they will just walk over the beavers.
yeah. What a battle! What a like! Look at the aftermath of this battle.
Yeah, he did actually kill my expansion, so even though I survived this, it was kind of dicey.
Yeah. Wow, he loves miasma.
Those are probably mine. It's a bit unfortunate that you can't really tell which one's miasma it is.
Yeah, there should be some kind of a color coding, but
Yeah.
But how do you do that? Do you just make like the swamp bubbles the team color, or I don't know.
I guess it has to be something like that. My army is like 5 units at this point.
Yeah, you're
I
down
think that
by.
my bases are starting to mine out, so losing that base actually hurt me a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, your main is done. Yeah, you've got a bunch of imps over there just chilling, but that one's out. Oh, and we still can't see how much Luminite is left on the map, right?
Yeah. And it can't be much. Well, I have like 2 mining bases at the moment.
Yeah.
But it's gonna go down even more soon.
Oh, and his expansion just finished. And it's off-center. Oh, my brain can't unsee the off-center. Every time. Okay, so you're down a base, but do you know that you're down a base? Like, let's say that, wow, we're already 17 minutes in. Time flies when you're having fun.
I'm probably afraid of the possibility at this point, but I have very few units, so I kind of have to secure this base and just hope I can bounce back from that.
Yeah. I've noticed that a lot of people, I know that this map is mirrored, like, diagonally.
I did get my own dragon finally.
But I noticed no one ever checks this base. Like, it doesn't matter if you're the blue player or the red player, wherever you start. People don't check this base that often. But like
maybe.
this base is let me put it another way. This base is usually expanded to before this one is in the upper left.
I haven't really thought about that.
You know what else I find really interesting is you're one of the few people that I've noticed that will more consistently oh no, but the dragon still got good white health. Whoa, so many shadow flares! Oh, and you got the V5 rocket launcher too. That's nice. Oh, especially against all those the Hexen, and then they mass teleport out. Woo, those are good hits. Oh, but your dragon went down. It tanks so many shadow flyers though. Oh, the Superstone shows up, then it leaves.
It did get me a lot of beans before it died.
Yeah. The no, what I was saying before is that you're one of the few players I think that will more consistently make a shroud highway. Like out of your base, you'll build these little shroud highways, and
yeah, I really like it.
Yeah, it's super nice, and it also like the added benefit is that you get scouting that you otherwise wouldn't get. So like, I think you treat it more like creep tumors, more than other people do. But I think more people should use them. And I know it costs animus to put out, and that's it could be a dragon or whatever. But still having that vision on the map, like almost using them like wards in League of Legends is super nice.
Yeah, that's definitely something I have been hoping that gets changed, like specifically the way that Dragon is made, so it costs the animus, because at the moment most high-level Infernals really prioritize getting a dragon out, so they don't use like animals for anything if they can avoid it. And I think that's just bad for the whole Infernal playstyle. Like it's not fun if you can't use the top power abilities because of that.
Yeah,
And
no,
so personally, I don't really care about getting the dragon fast. I just want to use my abilities.
Yeah, I agree. And really, if you think about it, if you win the fights earlier by using your abilities with Nightfall or with having Shroud really far forward that gives your Gaunts Infest or something, like winning those early fights, I think almost forces your opponent to build army if they lost the fight, and then they can't build the dragon anyway. So if you can delay their ability to make a dragon, who cares? Like they're never gonna have the resources to make one anyway, as long as you're using your top bar spells effectively.
Well, when it comes to dragon, then honestly, I do agree with the point that it's better to just save up for the dragon because, like, the ability, the benefit you get from the top power abilities is good, but like the animals, the 150 animals for dragon is like so much more cost efficient than like the 50 animals you used for a Shroud Stone, for example.
Oh yeah, you're getting a lot more bang for your buck. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And there's the GG. All right, awesome. This is a really cool. I didn't realize this replay was 21 minutes long. This is awesome. A lot of really cool fights, interesting miasma stuff. Phlebuster, thank you so much for your analysis. We never actually like have you on to talk about your games, but you give me so many to work with. So thank you so much, man. GG's, guys. What's up, guys? It's Frank here with another couch-casted episode of Stormgate. Here we've got dumdumDUMBNOOB versus Phlebuster, who happens to be on the couch casting his game with me. Phlebuster, please say hello.
Hello, I'm here.
Okay, so you said you have your own opinions about Ruination. A lot of people really like this map. I think this was after the whole after a lot of discussion was happening with Artosis about how do you make a good map, especially with something that feels kind of StarCrafty, but still has the creep camps like Warcraft 3. So a lot of people liked Ruination because these really valuable camps are in the middle of the map. But it seems like you're not necessarily completely in favor of that. Why is that?
Well, apart from the initial dark filter on the map, I like the first version of this map a lot. But after it changed, it's the weirdest map in the pool right now, just for the fact that it has no heal camps. Which means that as Infernal player, you just don't have healing in the whole game. And that's very different from all the other maps. And that makes it very weird. And also, the early game is very different because there is no health camp.
Yeah.
So, I can't say I like playing it, but it's actually one of my best maps for some reason, so I don't mind playing it in that sense. It just results in very weird games because of those factors.
Yeah, that's really interesting. At first I thought that so my first impressions on Ruination, the health camps, was that yeah, they're kind of free because they're in the corner right next to right over here. They're kind of free and like no one's really going to fight over them. But I think you're right. The fact that Infernal doesn't have a way to repair or like regenerate core health is kind of problematic, but I think that's something that you need to pay attention to as the game progresses, because each time that the tier of the camp levels up, that means that the global benefit that you get from the camp also levels up. So as long as you're farming it consistently, like that can turn into significant health regen. Now, I don't know that it should be in the corner of the map and free necessarily, because if both players are getting a free health regen, then it benefits the player that has more armor, or the race that has more armor. So maybe if there were like little corners here towards the center of the map for health camps, that might be more interesting. But yeah, I think that health camps in general are a lot more interesting than either you stand in it and you get healed, or you don't and the healing is barely relevant. Because yeah, as they level up, like it's pretty effective.
Yeah, and also this map, like you mentioned, the feature about the camps in the middle, like that vision camp in the middle of the map on the hill, that makes this such like a king of the hill map. Like that's so important.
Yeah.
And that also creates very unusual playing situations. Like if you're holding that middle it's very hard to attack into, and you have to see like almost all of the map from there, and you can hold 2 of the Illuminate camps, so it's a huge advantage.
Yeah. I actually kind of like it. I think it forces a lot of fights in the middle, and whoever's holding this vision camp, like, oh no, the Hexen goes down.
Yeah, this was a very nice ambush. Like, this is the first time I see the Hedgehogs, and I realize I'm fighting against mechs, so there was not much to do to save any of those units.
Yeah. But no, like I was saying before, I think this center concentration of camps is really interesting because, yeah, you can hold the vision camp and you're kind of overlooking these the Luminite camps, but there's no way that like someone wants to take a fight on all 3 of these. So whoever's not on the vision camp can like can kind of do some ring around the rosy and like try to capture the camps. Oh no, was that okay? That was a cancel, not a kill. Yeah, I think it's interesting that like it almost forces a three-pronged micro battle in the center there, because no one's going to hold the vision and both Illuminite at the same time, and if they are, then the game's basically over. But I think if you're the one that's attacking into it,
if you can hold the vision camp, you can hold both Illuminite camps very easily. That's why it's so strong.
Really?
Because you have so much vision, you see where the enemy army is going and they don't know where your army is, so you always have the positional advantage.
But it seems like you're always like whoever's on top of the vision has to be very reactionary, where it's like, okay, maybe they can get baited out into a Luminite camp while you take the other one, and then you like fight over the middle to see who gets the vision camp or something like that. But
well, no, they can't really be baited because they have the full vision. Like, they can be reactionary. That's the advantage.
Okay.
When you don't have any of the vision camps, you're like completely in the dark and just it's a very difficult situation.
Do you think it would be better if it was 2 vision camps on the corners and then 1 Luminite in the middle?
Maybe, like, I don't really mind the setup in the middle. It's just very powerful, and because I think the health camp issue is the bigger one.
You think a health camp is a bigger deal?
It's very difficult to even get scouting against Vanguard on the Hex in early game because of the limited hit points. Like, you don't get like free heals on your Hex, and you can just go take a little damage on the way while you are scouting the enemy base, because that's like permanent damage on your Hexen.
Yeah. I do kind of wish that there was some kind of interaction with the Felhogs where like your army can come back and restore core health by eating the Felhogs at the cost of max supply, because they're going to regenerate anyway, and there's not really much interaction with the Felhog, but coming back, like returning an injured unit back to base, eating a Felhog to get back some core health, and then to come back out, I think would be that would be a good way to not rely on health camps so much if you're an Infernal player.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, this situation is very bad for me because I lost my map control, and I also see that I'm playing against mechs, so I need to tech up fast. So I kind of need to force a third base and just make some tech units and try to survive.
Yeah. It's I thought it was your philosophy: never make tier 1 units as an Infernal.
Against Vanguard specifically, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Brute is an okay filler unit just to tank for your army with your extra Luminite. It has its uses, but it's the less tier 1 units you have, the better, and I usually avoid making cons at all.
See, now this is really interesting to me that he pulled his entire army back from the map. Like, he owns the center. Why wouldn't he want to like guard both Luminite camps? Because right now, and I know that you have no vision of this. Right now, you could come over here and capture all of this, and he can't do anything about it. This map is huge. Oh, but your Brute does spot this. I don't think...
that was actually a very, very important bit of vision that I had there. Because it allowed me to instantly pump out some Shadow Flyers.
Oh! And you actually never got the drop down. Wow, losing 2 Vulcans.
Yeah, that was an MVP.
Whoa! I thought for sure he was gonna like drop the Vulcans down and he wasn't gonna be able to get out or something. But what a sick grab.
He must not have realized that he got seen on the way. But yeah, like you said about the position, it's true that personally when I get the middle, I try to keep all my units there. Like I will rally my new units there. I will just sit there because it has the shortest distance to anywhere on the map. And you can also use that army to defend the 2 Luminite camps.
So
that's how I play it.
Do you ever have to worry about getting backdoored though, if you have all your units going towards the center? Because that seems like it'd be good counterplay if you know that your opponent is holding the center, that they're gonna want to hold the center, so you can like do drops down to the side of the down to either side of their main.
Well, drops is always a possibility on this map, but you can't really get backdoored if you also hold your that top or bottom vision camp.
Yeah. No, but during on the vertical sides of the map, right? You could.
I mean, you can get dropped, but you can't really get backdoored there because of the vertical design, horizontal design.
Yeah, because the third will always see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like you don't want to fight this, but you've got a good composition.
I have more than touch now, since I'm moving out so boldly. I probably have either miasma or more than touch now. I don't think I would be pushing like that otherwise.
Yeah. But where's your Hexen?
That's a good question. So maybe I don't have miasma.
Wow! So many good hits on these Exos. Ooh, get over here. Man, the visual effect for Molten Touch looks so cool.
I think I made one Weaver when I saw a Vulcan in the early game, but then that Vulcan actually died in the drop, so I don't think I ever had to fight any here.
Yeah, this is always interesting to me that people use like one dog or one fiend to recapture camps that were captured or abandoned. Like this. Yeah, it's a single Lancer that's going to get the center now. And a single unit like right here. I don't know. I understand that like static D isn't ideal just because it's resources that go into something that can't move, but holding camps, especially on Ruination, seems really good to me.
Yeah. I think I probably sent both meat farm and tower building there, but for some reason my imps sometimes just don't want to build one of the buildings, so that might have happened there.
And meat farms are especially good at holding camps, just because Yeah,
I think my miasma was actually very late this game. I might have forgotten my Twilight. What was it? Twilight Carnival or something like that.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So that's probably my first miasma in the game.
Yeah, I think it is. There it is. Oh man, you caught the he's just sieging up his Atlas. What did that Atlas shoot at? Pop, pop, pop. Down it goes. GG, well played. Good games, guys. Thanks for the analysis. Oh, wait, nice catch on the dropship in all caps. Nicely done.
It's true.
What's up, guys? It's Frank here, and we've got another couch-casted episode of Stormgate between Phlebuster, say hello.
Hello, I'm here again.
And SenegaloRuskov, excuse me. And it's going to be an IvI on Ruination, which is, of course, Phlebuster's absolute favorite map. Despite the fact...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's always weird games here. There's always a funny dance happening in the middle in IvI because both Hexens arrive in the middle of the map at the same time, so you can like trigger the whatever that unit was called, and they will attack the other Hexen if you time it correctly.
Yeah. Oh, so you want to bait out the you want to aggro the creep camp to attack the other Hexen.
Yeah, so that actually happened perfectly, and one of the enemies was attacking both of the hexens, so both players did it.
Yeah. I think it's always interesting when we see people using that strategy. There we go. Okay, so you scout the expansion, and then are you just gonna come over and steal the cabbage and then go home?
Pretty much that's the plan, because there's so limited healing here. Taking those is actually very annoying.
Yeah. I like this little
You
haunted
can
forest
just,
area. That's cool.
yeah, you can kind of walk through the whole enemy camp and then take the cabbage for free scouting on this,
Yeah.
in this instance.
Anyway, yeah, it looks pretty standard. Conclave, Vault,
Absolutely.
free pocket natural. Yep, Vault
Yeah,
Conclave. Yeah. All pretty standard.
same thing on both sides. The only real difference is in the fact that my expansion is hugging the Ethereum and his isn't.
Mm. Oh, you're like right next to the Ethereum. Yeah, that's awesome. So another thing that I've seen people talk about, but I haven't really seen done, is that you can theoretically put a meat farm like back here before the Ethereum spawns, and then that'll force the Ethereum to spawn closer in this direction.
I never thought about that, but I guess you could do that. There's usually just like bigger priorities for the meat farm.
Yeah, exactly. It's you're using a meat farm on something that's kind of random, and you have to hope that there's room for it. It seems like it would require a lot more attention than you can afford to give for something that small.
SenegaloRuskov, of course, is a very good player. We meet a fair bit on ladder, and I usually get my ass handed to me. He's up there with the top infernals, I would say.
I hope we see him in tournaments sometimes. I hope we see you in
He
tournaments
has
sometimes.
been in the tournaments, but yeah, I mean, I've been in tournaments too, but I usually just drop in the first round.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that the chickens are still there, but they don't give any reward now. But actually, I
Yeah,
kind of like that. Like, I like the fact that there were like. I don't like the idea of a wandering creep camp that can like do damage. But if there's like little critters that are worth maybe only 10 luminite, that's actually I'm okay with that. It's small enough that it doesn't matter that much. But if you can if you're in the area anyway and you can get a little bit of luminite, why not?
Yeah, I don't really hate the concept, but I guess it's also not very cool that there's like secret features on the map that only like pro players will know about.
Yeah. You have to be paying attention.
They would have to be like marked on the minimap or something.
That and the cabbage. Oh, the fact that the cabbage doesn't have any marker on the minimap is
Yeah, that's true.
that drives me wild. I hope that they eventually do something with like the evil headquarters building right here. Like this skull looks like it was there before the building got ruined. So I wonder what the maybe this used to be a bank or something. I don't know.
It just managed to kill my tower there before it finished.
Good stomps though.
That was... Yeah. If I might have been able to get the super roads down off if the first tower was able to finish, but I still managed to hold it. Like I said, this top of the hill is so important, especially in IVI. But I think in all matchups.
Even in IVC?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But usually Celestial is the one holding it in that matchup.
Yeah.
So we are both on 3 bases. No, he's actually taking the 4th base already.
Yeah. He's got Reaper's Rush coming. This is another thing that I noticed. Who was I casting the other day? Where someone like was building so many expansions. They were building them faster than they could saturate them. So they were like they had all these bases up, but there were no workers there, and it felt like wasted opportunity because like they still never saturated their natural. But
Yeah, but it's still very good to do because you can build more imps if you have more thrones, so...
yeah.
which still helps.
Nice, nice.
And here again you can see the benefit from having the vision, like I can see him engaging this camp, so even before my troops are there I can just use my Nightfall Infestation on his army, which is very powerful here because of the lack of healing, like all extra damage is always good.
Oh, I have a question about Shroud that you might know the answer to. So let's say that your opponent gets up to tier 3 before you do, and they have tier 3 Shroud. If it's your unit standing on your opponent's tier 3 Shroud, do you get the benefits of the tier 3 Shroud, or is it per player?
I don't believe there's any kind of ownership checks for the Shroud, so it doesn't matter. It just checks your bonus if you are on Shroud.
Oh, okay, okay, I see what you mean.
So in theory, one person could be on tier 3 and one on tier 1, and they would have a massive difference on the same Shroud in the regeneration.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter who the effigy belongs to.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I still want to see what happens if a unit dies to infestation while it's inside of a transport. Does the fiend just like drop out of the bottom? I've wondered.
Think they take damage while infested inside the transport, but I'm not 100% sure.
Because I think I've seen it before where a transport with units inside of it will be on a heal camp, and I think the units inside get healed. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember.
Interesting if true. It would be kind of funny to have an alien situation with a fiend spawning inside a transport ship.
Just eating its way out.
Yes.
I like this actually. I've always been curious how because this base seems not really vulnerable. It's not that it's not as open as maybe taking a base right here like the Celestials love to take. I don't know why Celestials never like build up production over here. But I was thinking about how would be the best way to defend this shrine, but really clogging up this area, clogging up this I wouldn't really call it a choke, but with production structures and then having a little bit of static D out front, I think is a cool way to do it. Just because you don't want to build, you know, like 8 Shroud Stones or 3 meat farms and a Shroud Stone just to defend that. But
yeah, and there isn't actually that much space to even build in your main, so I think that's a pretty good location to make more production.
Yeah. And then kind of back to your point
here, because I can see his units like coming there and then going back again.
Oh yeah, and you can see that one fiend right there. Yeah, that is really strong. Right in front of the I still can't think of a clever name for the evil building. Like what's the most evil company I can think of? I don't know. Well, I have an idea, but I'm not going to say it on a video that I'm going to upload to YouTube.
Indeed.
Oh, okay. So, does Senegalo know that you like that you really like Magmadons? Because I think he built these Weavers just so he can counter your Magmadons.
Maybe, but it's also generally pretty popular in the matchup, so it's no big surprise.
Yeah. Yeah, Lash is so good.
I'm personally of the opinion that Magmadons simply beat Weavers in the matchup at the moment, but some of the high-level players are still doing pretty well with the Weavers, so maybe it's not an absolute truth. Kind of depends on the army size.
Does a Magmadon Stomp cancel the animation for Hellborn?
Yeah.
Wow, that's really strong.
Yeah, I mean, Hellborn has so many weaknesses. If anything is in the melee with Hellborn, it's already in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about that. What was it? 2 games ago when you were in melee with, I think it was another Infernal player, but it didn't matter. Oh yeah. It was because like he had a million hexen, but he didn't really have any DPS. He just had miasma, and then he lost all of them, and it was your Hellborn that were at the front just because like there was nothing. He didn't have anything to do damage to them.
Right.
Oh, I thought this was gonna be Hellborns that were just shooting there, but a couple of fiendy boys just chilling out. Nope. They get a couple tickles from the Shroud Stones and go down. Easy peasy.
When you can build the Shroud Stones on the top of the hill, it becomes just such a strong position.
Yeah.
Because you can always fortify it even more by dropping the Super Shroud Stone as well.
Mm. And the Super Stone costs 50 animus, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Wow, and Senegalo, he's floating so many resources. Or he was, anyway. I think he's building a dragon now.
He doesn't have the animus for that yet.
But
he only wants it out.
Yeah. That might be what he's saving up for.
I think I just made mine. Because I seem to have
yeah, there it is.
Animus, yep.
The metallic helmet on the Plague Dragon is such a... God, it looks so good. Oh. Did you get caught? Yeah, drop down the Super Stone. And you also revealed your dragon. Is there ever an instance where you want to keep the dragon hidden before a big fight, or like once you get it?
Well, yeah, I mean, the longer you can keep it hidden, the better, because once it's out, then the opponent will make all the shadow flyers in the world that he can.
Yeah.
But of course, it's also good to bring it to battles because you can get more fiends.
And I see you made shadow flyers as well. Is that just defensive? So like, so that you're not losing.
To counter the enemy shadow flyers.
Yeah. Woo!
But of course, there happens to be a dragon as well, so
yeah,
they kind of get spent there.
His dragon went down super fast though, and yeah, like you said, these Hellborn are in melee range now, and they're in all kinds of trouble. Oh, what a cool! This is a huge fight though. Very box art like wide range fight, and there's the GGs. Yeah, you had him. Yeah. You had him dead to rights right there.
I would say that I probably won this just because of the map. Like I said, I don't really like the map, but I have some good games here because of the map features.
Hmm. So do you think you won because you held the center for the longer and like you were holding on to the Luminite?
It's both the resources and the vision that gave me so many good battles.
Yeah.
If I can't hold it, then I instantly feel like I'm losing that game.
Hmm. That's interesting. That's really interesting for map design going forward. Yeah. For King of the Hill type maps. I actually kind of hope that this type of map becomes its own. Like there should be at least one King of the Hill type map in each map pool as the seasons progress. But yeah, I get why it's problematic, but it also seems very like it's the opposite of Isle of Dread, where both players just take their turns like, oh well, I'll grab this camp, then I'll grab this camp, then I'll grab this camp. Like it almost forces the players to come together in the center, as opposed to avoiding each other and just taking the camps on the peripherals. But yeah, GG's. Yo, listen up, here's a story about a caster who committed to some chicken memes a little too hard, and now he's streaming inside and outside with Phlebuster. Alright, I don't know the rest of the words to that song. But Eiffel 65, thank you so much for Blue Baba D. We've got an Untapped.gg replay here for you guys. It's going to be an IVC, Red Infernal versus Blue Celestial player with the fancy new, these still look weird to me, the new prisms with all their gold stuff, but helping me cast to understand a little bit more about the game from the Infernal perspective is Phlebuster.
Hello.
Okay, so openers against Celestials on Boneyard. What are your What's going through your mind when you're opening against a Celestial on Boneyard?
I'm thinking that I need to be greedy. Like, this is a very good Celestial map with basically the 2 extra free Celestial bases that are like the island bases that only Celestial can use.
Ah, yeah. These ones?
So usually Celestials play pretty greedy here, so I want to open like 3 or 4 base.
And you're using your skull to kind of scout around a little bit. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I can tell it's not me at least, so
Yeah.
from the skull usage. Do you know what level these players are, by the way?
I filtered an Untapped by Masters, so anyone that's in
Alright,
Masters
alright.
League.
Yep, fair enough, fair enough.
Although that probably really narrows the pool down to like, you know, the same 10 players over and over. But
Casually, I like a few dozen masters, I would guess.
yeah.
Also, I'm not sure if it's just like both players are masters or just like one of them. I'm not sure how it works. But I think for Infernal player, the second expansion's placement is very interesting because he went for that double Therium, so he really wants to like take up fast. So I'm thinking that maybe he wants to like Spree and Rush or something like that.
I love this placement of the shrine. He's like right inside of the both of the Theriums here. He's gonna be, yeah. Look, the imp
like
doesn't even have to walk. He
much.
just returns it right away.
Of course, some Celestial spells also like to proxy hard on this map, so that would be a concern for me as an Infernal player here.
That's always something that I find interesting as well, is that people that don't play Celestials have to evolve a like scouting. Scouting is so much more important when you're facing a Celestial player, just because they're so prone to proxy. In fact, like, they're designed to proxy. But the fact that they have so many options of where to proxy means that you need to keep your eyes on the map quite a bit, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And we didn't really do any Fiend scouting here, so there could be a big proxy growing right next to his base and he wouldn't actually know about that.
And that's
Making
another...
the vision camps fast makes sense, of course, because that gives you a lot of vision, but there could still be proxies outside of that vision.
Yeah, you never know where Morph Core went to sneak off to. But it is...
This matchup is definitely, for me, the most question mark at the moment. Like, so much weird stuff can happen.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's a fast take around already. Showing it just to kill a Fiend. Very classy.
Yeah.
Didn't want to waste Argent energy on that shot. So at least Infernal knows exactly what he's dealing with right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think going against Celestials is another use case for the Shroud Highway, or at least like spamming the
Absolutely.
Yeah, spamming those out more just to have more vision across the map.
And especially because his chosen tool seems to be Weavers, you really need that Shroud, so to connecting all the bases.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see how that works, because I think it's kind of hard to fight against Sabers with Weavers at the moment, because, well, that might have been his plan actually with this fast Therium base. Because normally you can't really afford the Weavers because they take so much Therium, but maybe you can with this early base.
Yeah. Total of 8 imps at this Therium base, and they are just, yeah, they are cruising. This is a really interesting placement for the ritual chamber. It's not exactly hidden.
Yeah, it's a very weird one.
Yeah. I don't know if he was just like, I need to put it down somewhere, and here.
Yeah, maybe.
Did you notice much of an impact when the Weavers got the damage bracketed between 5 and 200? Like, do you ever feel like...
Well, it doesn't really make any difference except for the fact that they can now pick up flowers.
It doesn't affect how much damage they do to buildings, because I know they got the max damage nerfed a little bit, so they aren't doing like hundreds and hundreds of damage against tier 3.
Yeah, I don't think it really matters in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah, if a Weaver's punching your tier 3 building, you've got problems.
Yes, he did. So fortifying this vision camp is definitely good, and there's a lot of weavers. Like, I don't usually see this many weavers out, and this is only like basically 2-base build. So this build must be like meant just to hard counter a Saber Rush pretty much.
Yeah. I think it's really bold to keep your arc station that far forward, especially with. Did he just lashed his own weaver? Maybe to recover the white health.
Yeah, must be because it was quite damaged.
The anyway, no, like keeping the arc station so far forward, I think is pretty dangerous for the Celestial player, considering that the Hellborn does bonus damage to structures, and it can shoot from a long ways away. And the arc station isn't exactly quick, you know. It can't flee as quickly. So if 4 Hellborns show up, there we go, and they start focusing down the arc station, that could be a big problem. Oh, is it
Saber lives?
Lives, yeah.
Barely. I think it's activated the auto repair to outheal that weakness.
That and the heals from the arc station are probably helping a little.
This is actually a very interesting game, because now we'll see if this very dedicated Mass Weaver can beat Mass Saber, which is something I've been wondering about. Like, the Weaver Yoink has much shorter range than the Saber shot, so I feel it's very difficult to actually play Weaver against it. Sabers can shoot down Weavers pretty fast. But he really does have a lot of Weavers, so that's very interesting to see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really interesting standoff that we see happening here. No, I don't know that I would have started this. I don't know that I would start that camp.
I think it's really hurting right now that we don't have that permanent shroud here.
Yeah. Do you think it would be worth building a shroud stone like back here or something?
That would just take too long. I mean, it's better to just use a few abilities to expand. Oh, he used the global shroud ability.
Yeah.
I guess that can work, but
that's a lot of animus.
Yeah, it's not looking too good.
Yeah. That and the yeah, he got his army split. That's always painful.
Yeah, and I feel like half the Weavers already died before he even got to fight with them.
Yeah.
So if he had made like a Cloud Highway here, it might have been different, but I feel like it's not really working at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, now they're finally going to close. We're finally going to see a lot of, well, we saw 2 lashes anyway. 2 more lashes come down into melee range. And he is getting through like the sabers, kind of, but there's just so many left over that these, the lashes really weren't that effective. There's just way too many sabers, that's all there is to it.
Yeah, I think even at this point, a Brigand swap still could have been pretty good, because they could actually kill the sabers pretty fast. There wasn't much anti-air.
Yeah.
But now he's already starting to like make more vectors as well, just to make sure he doesn't die to that. So
yeah,
at this point there's not that much you can do anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty much GG from here.
Yeah, he had one good shot with that Mass Weaver army, but because he was not on the Shroud, he wasn't able to actually take a fight with them.
Yeah. Yeah, and here comes the 3/3 for Creation Chambers, which is interesting. I don't know why he wants to shift into infantry, and I don't know why there's this like perfect line of Shroud and Knot. That's got to be a visual bug. Maybe it's just in the replay.
So I don't know who the Infernal player is, but I feel like they might have played this specific player before, and they basically knew that it's gonna be a Saber Rush, and they were trying to counter that with the Mass Weaver, but it just didn't quite work out. Because otherwise I feel they should have been taking in more bases and taking a different third base as well, after double Therium base.
Do you think it would have been better
they had a game plan, just going for that Mass Weaver and holding that first Saber attack. So that was the plan, it just didn't work.
Do you think after that, after losing that first fight with the Weavers, that he should have shifted into Spriggans? Because really, there's like
yeah,
there's
if he
no
had made
anti-air in here.
Twilight Spires, he might have still been able to make the transition. Even like just like 6 beacons might have been like enough there.
Yeah.
Because there was a short window of time when there was like no anti-air. But after that, you can't really do much because he didn't have many bases, so...
Yeah. And that's it. GG's.
GG.
Alright. Jayxp versus Endo Carrot from Untapped GG. This is Frank. That's a dog. That's a chicken. All this corn is actually cats. Let's get into it. Commentating along with me today is Phlebuster, who is an Infernal player. So this is we've got an Infernal player commentating on a Vanguard versus Vanguard, which should be interesting. I don't know. It's always interesting to hear players' perspectives in games where the race that they play isn't happening. Like, I don't know. When I do get on the ladder, I'm an Infernal player. But it always feels like Bobs are just so much tankier than my imps. And it's like, wow, I wish I got free repair and tanky workers and power build and all this stuff. Like, you know, I don't have to Vanguards don't have to sacrifice a worker. So to me it seems really strong, but I'm sure there's advantages and disadvantages that I'm not thinking of.
Yeah, for sure. I may not know much about the matchup, but of course I know the players, and Jayxp is one of the top Vanguard players. Endo, I believe, is pretty good, but I think there's a fairly sizable MMR difference, so of course Jayxp should have a big advantage here.
Yeah, he's certainly favored to win. Jayxp, of course, having much stronger eyes after training them to stare at light mode Discord all day long. He's certainly gone through an intense physical regimen there.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. He's one of those light mode enjoyers.
Well, that's a very cute triggering of that camp.
Yeah.
And that looked like a pretty cool defense from Endo.
Yeah. It's always crazy to me that that Lancer got chased from the bot, like this, you know, not inner ring, but like the medium range ring, all the way up to that health cabbage, and he only lost like half health. The Lances are so tanky. Oh, this reminds me of the did you see the GIF that was posted in the Discord of like the one Lancer that's taking down the slime? Yes. Yeah, and then the dog just comes by to steal it.
That was like either the most epic or the saddest GIF I've seen. Depending on which side you are on.
Yeah.
The Jayxp, of course, is very known for his Lancer pressure, and it seems to be biting in Vanguard versus Vanguard as well.
Yeah.
And even though both players are on one base, we are starting to see like a big difference in the supply at this point.
Yeah, he can't afford to stop mining. So what do you think, I know there's been a few ideas being tossed around of how do we make the hedgehogs different from the exos? Because once you get the quick draw hustle, the exos and the hedgehogs become pretty similar in usage. They're fast anti-heavy units. My idea to make them different would be to make the exos do, instead of bonus to heavy, make them do bonus to biological, and then have one of them stay anti-heavy and then one of them be anti-biological or mechanical. I don't care, but just to make them a little bit different, you know.
Yeah, I think the problem with making one of them good against biological would be that in that case in Vanguard versus Vanguard the other thing just becomes better because only one of them is biological.
Yeah. Or maybe if there was like an upgrade tree where, you know, you can choose, you know, does your exo get anti-biological or anti-mechanical ammo? And then you have to spend resources to change the ammo type for them.
Yeah, if one of the units was changed to have a bonus against the light instead, then that would be very interesting to see, but it would have a huge balance implication, of course.
Yeah. ranged anti-light against especially against Infernal would be crazy, because the gaunts have such a short range that
Yeah, but in my opinion, gods don't matter in the matchup anyway, so go for it.
yeah. Fair enough, fair enough.
And Fiends die from one shot anyway, so again, go for it.
I love the flat cannon showcase here. The I'm surprised these Bobs stopped mining though. They need to get back. Get back to work. Break's over. Oh, and I do like the Sim City that's starting to happen too. Like he's gonna force the oh, and the double solar on the flat cannon. Ah.
Yeah, it's a nice defense idea, but still we are on one base, so you can't really win like this.
Wow, the rate of fire on it now. No, is he gonna be able to repair it? Oh no.
Not quite. A bit late on the repair.
Yeah.
And I think it might just be over now. I guess he's still holding, but yeah.
He's still holding, but Jayxp is now on a second base, and it's not quite fully saturated, but he's getting there. And yeah, he's got two. We don't have a single mech bay out over here for Endo, so it's double mech bay versus 3 racks.
Yeah, I wonder if Jayxp is gonna make like one Vulcan. I don't think there will be much answer to that.
I remember we there was discussion happening about like the scale of the hedgehog looks off because it's so small compared to something like the medtech. But I think people forget that the medtech is a mech. Like there's a tiny little person sitting inside of this gigantic mech. It's not, yeah, that's not a mech's arms, or that's not a person's arms. Now the Exo looks huge.
It could be a dog.
Yeah, hey, it might be a dog. You never know. It might be a Bob. Imagine a robot piloting a mech.
The AI uprising is here.
That's right. Oh man, I wonder about that sometimes. Like, there was for a short time. I don't know if it's still happening. There was a StarCraft 2 league that was just AIs versus AIs.
Oh yeah.
Now because it's so specialized, there wasn't. There were only like what 3 or 4 teams, but it was still super interesting to see. And I wonder if something similar will eventually happen.
If you're talking about the applications of AI, then I think that's about as good as you can get.
Yeah. That's the peak AI usage right there.
And I think it would be interesting. Like I think that actually has applications for games. Like for example, if you were able to train the Stormgate AI by using the data from user replays, so that they actually play better, that would be very interesting.
Yeah, the old Alpha Star games and the AI leagues, I think those happened before the big AI revolution that happened in what 2022, 2021, and yeah. So what's it called when you? Is it like supervised learning? I think it's called when you have you teach it to play based on previous data sets, not just on like API information.
Like
I don't know. I would have to ask Theory or Algorithmor. They're the AI gurus.
So now we have the Vulcan South, and Endo is still not on a second base, so this is not looking too good at the moment.
Yeah, he's been on one base for a long time.
And Jayxp has taken his third base now, meanwhile.
I think this is always an interesting interaction, the Vulcans versus Exos, because Exos are anti-heavy, and they do get great DPS density because they're so small. But that's kind of countered by the AoE of the Vulcans there, so you can't exactly stutter step forward and start sniping off Vulcans, because they will just shred them.
Indeed.
But then I guess the counter to that counter would be reanimation protocols, but you need to be on tier 3 for that. And I don't think he is. Oh yeah, he doesn't even have quick draw. Ah, it's a disaster. Yeah, this looks like it might be the end. I think the Exos just won't be able to counter that many Vulcans. The Hedgehogs are going to take a lot of damage from this The flat cannon. No.
Yeah, the flat cannon is very powerful. And there we see the high DPS of Exos against Vulcan actually.
Yeah.
They do drop them pretty fast if you can connect.
Yeah.
Nice save from Jayxp on that long Vulcan.
Ah, no, the Bobs are just running to their deaths.
And that's definitely a GG at this point.
Yeah. And their GG's out. Alright, GG's, guys. Hey guys, it's Frank with another episode of Couchcasted Stormgate, and we've got an IVC on Ruination, and casting along with me today is Phlebuster. Say hello.
Hello, hello.
And yeah, we're going to be getting... See, okay, like right here, is it better to build your shrine right next to the Ethereum so like your imps don't have to move as far at the cost of, efficiency here?
So I can instantly tell that it's not my game.
But is it like, if it's you and you had to choose between like Luminite efficiency versus closer to the Ethereum, what do you pick?
Yeah, the Ethereum is just a lot better.
Yeah.
The difference from being next to Ethereum gives so much more efficiency compared to being slightly diagonal to the Luminite.
You can see a forward Iron Vault. Something else I've been wondering about is we don't see Infernal players building proxies all that much. Like, what if an imp managed to sneak back, like, let's say right here, and start building production structures back here to just flood in? Would that be good, or is it better to have them somewhere where it's more defensible? Just because the celestial economy is so much slower now, you probably could build up, 2, maybe even 3 production structures in this little pocket. And start...
Yeah, back in the day, Infernal proxies used to be pretty popular, but that was mainly due to the Shroud Stones being more powerful against Celestial. I think the Sovereign's Watch change kinda made it easier to hold all kind of like proxies, so they don't feel that tempting. But it definitely is something you still can do against Celestial. And I've done it a few times myself on some bigger maps where they don't expect it.
Yeah. I think forcing out a Sovereign's Watch is also really strong as well, just because Celestials rely on being on green power so much that they're very, I don't want to say hesitant, but they're very conscious of when they use Sovereign's Watch. That and the charge system, if they use it 3 times and they haven't regenerated a charge yet, and then suddenly there's an Infernal army at their doorstep, that's really bad news for them. But
Infernal looks pretty good, like the Harass is good, and he's actually going to 4 bases now of that 1 Conclave, 1 Iron Vault, so that looks like a pretty strong opening to me.
Yeah. But he's not building close to the Ethereum with the shrine.
Yeah, that's true. The location is very weird actually, because it's so far from the Ethereum. I don't know why you would put it there. I guess he really wants it straight, horizontal vertical to that Luminite, but yeah, it's really not that much of a priority.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe he's not... It's probably someone who doesn't really follow like Discord stuff where all the analysis happens. So he does his own thing, basically.
Yeah. He's an NA player for sure. We've already got the Arc Station out. Morph Core.
This section has been very active on the other side of the map.
Nice body block. I appreciate it. No, don't leave, don't leave! Or did he already use his teleport?
Oh, this is bad. Will it die?
No, and he still got out. Nicely done.
Now he just needs to take a health flower. Otherwise it's still pretty dead.
Which one did he go? Oh, he's here.
Well, there is one behind the speed camp, so maybe he must take that and then heal, or just go for that flower right away. I hope he doesn't lose. Yeah, okay, he's going for the flower, it's fine. And he's taking both speed camps at the same time, so that's also a pretty high level play.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, okay, he did get it. Do you think that that Infernals, because Infernals are generally like the best at creeping around the map, right?
Sure.
Or I mean, if they're not, I'd be interested to, because it seems, at least in this matchup, that not only has the Celestial economy been slowed down a bunch, but they also don't have much of an opportunity to have enough army to creep around the map as fast as the Infernal does. Because look at this army right now. This is pretty good against what, 3-4 Argents?
Yeah, it's more about the quality of the army. Like Celestial doesn't usually really have the units that are good for creeping unless they make the Seraphim, because Argents just are not very good against creeps. They will use up their energy, and they don't do that much damage to them.
Yeah.
So it's more about the quality of units. But of course they have the top power ability that they can use to just take the creep camps.
Yeah, to just vacuum them up. The something else that I've kind of been wondering about in my mind is using fiends to see. Why is he running from five Argents?
I think it's probably just because he saw the saber, so he doesn't want to fight that army because he knows the saber.
Yeah. So you would know this better than me. Is it better to send your fiends in first against an Argent ball, just so that the Argents use up more energy at first because they'll overkill the fiends, or is it doesn't really matter?
I guess in theory it might be better to send a few fiends first and hope they can take a lot of Argent shots, but other than that I would rather send a few brutes maybe and try to keep the fiends alive because they can do some damage as well.
Yeah. Oh, that could be a nice flank right there.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be the plan.
Oh no, but it gets spotted. A couple of fiends marching on forward.
Yeah, this is kind of hard to call.
Yeah, he does use his
Very
boost.
scrappy fight. Oh, but that's Magmaron.
Nice stop. Oh, and he's perfectly wedged in there. Oh!
I see this game live because I remember that Magmaron spawn. I don't remember who was playing, but I saw someone stream this game. I like that Magmaron spawn from that one Iron Wall right in the middle of the enemy army. Like it really saved this battle.
That was beautiful, yeah. And he's throwing down a link node in the middle of a fight. That's one way to use up your resources, I guess. And the Spriggans are already out here. Oh, and quite a few of them. So yeah, these yeah, those sabers are just done for.
I think the Celestial player is either Aurel or Grimmy. I was watching one of them when I saw this probably.
Oh no! And I guess that was enough.
I can't believe that the same thing with Iron Vault happened in 2 games. Like that seemed so specific.
Yeah, that was cool. All right, GG's. Hey guys, it's Frank here with another user. Oh no, this is an Untapped replay actually from Jayxp, our Vanguard player in the red. And here's GRUMF, aka SenegaloRuskov, in the upper right. And yeah, couch casting with me today is Phlebuster.
Hello.
And Jayxp.
Hi everyone.
So right off the bat, your pupper sees the imp turning into the emergency meat farm.
I'm surprised that was able to go down.
Yeah. Emergency meat farm will be my next username, by the way.
So over there, I tried to like bait out the imp to come out of the meat farm and then go back, but I was too late on that. Because you can see in the fog of war if something's moving. So if you see it moving back to the position, you go back and then try to block it again.
True.
What do you mean you can see if something's moving in the fog of war?
With the dog.
With the dog.
Oh.
Because they have more vision. Well, they can see stuff in the fog of war, like a sensor tower in the C2.
Yeah, they have the pupper sense or whatever.
Yeah. So I think I don't remember what I do in this game, but I believe I play more economically in this game only because it's Isle of Dread. The rush distances are pretty long.
Huge, yeah.
This opening from GRUMF was a bit dubious. Honestly, he should have lost that first imp.
Yeah. I think I was focusing on something else, but it is what it is. I mean, like you're not supposed to lose the imp, so it's like I don't really lose anything or gain anything from it. So
Yeah, but you're also not supposed to send it out alone like that, so he deserved to lose it.
Yeah, yeah, I guess. So yeah, so this game, I believe I played a game before this, and I didn't like the open because I've been experimenting with a hedgehog, one-base hedgehog build order. And I realized against like a top player, it's not the best build. So this game, I decided to go for more of a greedy build because I know Senegal is gonna go greedy. So I decided to go greedy this build too. And this one, I decided to go fast tier 3, I believe. Tier 2, fast tier 2, and I solar habitat each command center.
Interesting.
And that basically guarantees I believe that should guarantee my economic lead for at least this part of the game.
Does solar habitat speed up the amount that does it speed up the upgrade speed from going to tier 1 to tier 2?
I wish, but no.
That'd be interesting. That's really cool too. I almost never see people throwing down solar habitats on their command structures, but that is a really interesting way to pump out more workers. Oh no, the fiends are pecking away at your bobs, but
yeah. So right now I'm upgrading tier 2, I believe.
Oh man, this dog has lived forever. He's seen some things.
Because I know he went triple shrine. I know I can basically hold anything with just lancers and overcharged bobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see what the term playing greedy means on Isle of Dread, because like you said, the rush distances are so huge that it's almost guaranteed that like both players are going to get a pretty strong eco up. Relatively safely.
It's not as easy to expand on this map as you would think, because while the rush distance is long, also like those 4th and 5th base are actually very far away as well, so they're kind of hard to defend.
So Jay, are you in favor of knocking down these trees so that you can see an opponent coming, or is it better to leave them up and act as like a natural barrier?
I think I eventually break it apart once I take the 4th. Just because going from the 4th to the natural becomes much easier.
Yeah, I think exactly the same. Like, I don't want to knock it down if it's my front line, but if I have base on the other side, then it's just an obstacle, so I want to get rid of it.
And then is that the same case right here too? Because I know people like to knock down, what is it? Oh no, it's not. Yeah, it is these trees. I think it's Infernal players that like to knock down these trees so that way they can reinforce the double Therium a lot faster in case it gets attacked.
That's right. I do that too. It's only if I get the double Therium though. Then I open it up.
Do you normally take double Therium?
Eventually, because I think eventually you need the gas.
It's interesting to see that Senegalov is still basically just on brutes.
And then at this point, I'm like, oh my gosh, my army, no.
Yeah, but he just leaves you alone. He just leaves you to it. Oh no, Exos! What are you doing?
Oh, my rally!
No.
Not the Exos.
At this point, I was like, oh no, my army split, so I break the trees here so I can reinforce. I can bring the army back. Maybe look to the left. I open up the trees.
I can see there's a patch in the forest.
And then we're all back. And then at this point, it's like I just see mostly brutes, so I can just kind of charge forward and just kite.
Yeah, there's a very interesting posturing. Like, it seems way too aggressive because you can't really even escape with this army because Exos are faster.
Yeah, trying to escape, trying to run away from Vanguard Exos is just looks super painful.
And then here I'm chasing because I know I can kite the army pretty much indefinitely.
Yeah. Is he gonna lose the Hexen? He does. I don't think it matters though. No, it doesn't. Plague X is already down. So that means the fiends can spawn.
And then I shield it. And then a small micro trick that I use anyways is that I select all my army and then just left click all my Exos so that the Lancers just go forward. And I can just kite with the Exos.
So you're kind of using the Lancers like zealots. It's like, hey, you're gonna be the meat shield. Go forward. You have to micro with your Exos. Yeah, I got it. That's also interesting.
Playstyle from GRUMF, Alex Senegalov, is pretty interesting because I don't understand what this tier 1 army is doing except buying time to like tech up, but he's also not really expanding behind it. Like, I would expect that this kind of posturing while you take like 2 bases behind it, but he's not really doing that.
Yeah. We see Venom Traps that are on the way. I think Does Senegalov like to use Does he like to use miasma a lot? Is he a miasma enjoyer?
I think sometimes. No, he's more of a mass content enjoyer actually.
I guess it makes sense just because they're gonna do that extra to light, and the exos aren't doing extra to the gaunts.
So at this point, I'm like, I think I won the game because I don't see a fourth base.
Au
Yeah,
contraire, mon frere.
Yeah, it's coming. But like, I see this, I'm like, oh, I must be extremely ahead.
Yeah. I'm also very interested to see when Vanguard players like to include medtechs in biocompositions, just because they're not cheap, but at the same, and like they do heal, but at the same time, whoa, what is this one? That's what Hexen Master Training looks like. Okay.
I don't want to be in. Well.
Yeah.
I tend to get the medtechs after like a line of exos, so like 8 exos. Maybe like 2.
Because the healing is good, but compared to the value that you get from Nanoswarm from a mech composition, it seems like, in my mind, it almost seems like it's better for GGJ. It seems like medtechs are almost better in a mech composition, and it's like, well, a medtech can heal one bio unit at a time, but with the AoE heals, they're just so much better for mech. But maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. And then, but with Nanoswarm though, it's also kind of useful even in a biocomp because Nanoswarm can actually tank up quite a bit if you put it on a medtech.
Oh, so you put Nanoswarm on a medtech and maybe push it a little further forward to soak up damage?
Yeah, or it's especially better. It's even good when you're like running away and kiting too. Because like usually the first units to get picked off when they're chasing you are the medtechs because they're just slower.
They're slower, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, no,
that's
it looks like Senegalo. I mean, he had mastery training coming up. He had his 4th that was finished, but yeah, it might have just been too little, too late. Anyways.
Yeah, so this game is just straightforward. I go 3 bases, just build a bunch of bio and kite, and eventually I would get tier 3, probably some atlases on 3 mech base, and then maybe a couple helicarriers, and that would probably be my endgame comp.
Nice. Yeah, it was a good match. GG's. What's up, guys? It's Frank again with another Stormgate crashing couchcast. Here we're casting a game between Jayxp, our blue Vanguard, and Bob Marley, our red Infernal player. Possibly the Dark Knight into the tournament, not tournament, but into the match here. We're not really sure if it's KR Bob or not. But yeah, on the couch along with me today is Jayxp.
Hello.
And Mr. Phlebuster.
Hi.
So it's pretty rare actually that we do that I get a couch cast and do the matchup of the people that are on the couch. So we've got a VvI and Jayxp, of course, you're the Vanguard player, and Phlebuster, you are well known on the ladder as an Infernal player. So it's fun to see the different perspectives that way. I do like the I think I like cross spawn matchups on Furious Resolve a little bit better than the closer spawns, just because it frees up both players to get the exact same camps for one another. Granted, that can stretch out games a little bit longer, but I don't know. Jay, what are your thoughts going into this? What are you thinking as you're going through this? Just you're experimenting with your 1 base hedgehog, or?
Yeah, so this game recently I've been experimenting with 1 base hedgehog. I'm pretty much at the conclusion that it's actually not that great. But basically the idea is that I should have enough. Basically the idea is that hedgehogs act as exos, and I use lancers, tier 2 lancers to push. It works sometimes, doesn't work on most, but especially with the rush distance like this, I didn't think it was really that good.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I see him go Shrine first, and I'm thinking, I'm thinking I'm already really behind, because the rush distance is already big, and I can't be really aggressive.
It's hard to punish.
But yeah, but so I try to go
Speaking of
as soon as the first hedgehog.
speaking of the hedgehogs as a replacement for the exo, what are your ideas for making those two units different? Like if we don't want them to function as the same like high speed anti heavy unit, yeah, how do you make them different?
How do you make them different? That's a good question. I honestly don't know. I think what you suggested is probably the best way. Yeah, I think what you suggested sounded good, but there's definitely a lot of overlaps.
Yeah. I think it's also going to be interesting to see if their role changes at all once we see more tier 3 units and tier 3 spells come out, because Vanguard is still missing two top bar abilities, right?
Yeah.
And I think Celestial has all 6, and I think Vanguard has all 6. But we're still missing a lot of tier 3 units. We know the Infernals are getting the Incarnate, is that right?
I believe
That
so.
seems to be the case.
Yeah. I have no idea what it's gonna be or what it's gonna do. I saw one person suggest that it might be like a burrowed transport, which would be kind of interesting. But yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So about this map, as Infernal, my first thought is that I really hate playing on this map. Only this cross-spawn position is like the only playable position in Infernal with Vanguard, so he got lucky in that sense. Like most of the time you just get screwed over by a bad spawn location.
What's the implications if it's not a cross spawn like that? So let's say that you do get spawned right next to each other. Does that just...
Well, against Vanguard, the rush distance is really short, and also your camp is probably gonna be taken by the Vanguard, so it's gonna be used against you. It's gonna be really hard to take your heal camp. It's just a very hard position for Infernal.
Gotcha. Wait, I need to see... I'm never sure if Fellhogs give experience or not, and I think they do. Oh, you have to abandon the natural. No.
Yeah, I see this push coming out. I honestly, in hindsight, I should have just kept pushing the natural. Because I have Vulcans coming out, and I believe 2 Vulcans can definitely hold this.
Oh man. Okay, so you do. All right, 5 hedgehogs is quite a bit actually. I was gonna say, if it's a couple of trickles of reinforcements, but you do manage to drag away quite a bit of DPS from your natural here, and the fact that there's free healing, the Bobs are like, yeah, this hedgehog's never going down.
Yeah.
Right, you do manage to take out the Hexen as well, but there's so many fiends out. Nice emergency promotes there to get the bonus experience, but that means that tier 3 hedgehog can no longer be promoted anymore, so it's gonna have to hope for the best. Nice. There we go. I always think that's an interesting micro game that Vanguards have to play, is lining up the Vulcan so it's getting the maximum like max efficiency of the shots from the how it's lined up, because it fires in a cone, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to like rush forward into a line of Gaunts. You kind of want it like on the side so it's getting a bunch of them. But
Right.
so now it's going to slow down a little bit. You do successfully
Yeah, at that
hold.
point, I thought I killed a lot, so I go for a 3rd base.
Ooh. Spicy boy.
Yeah, both players are taking a 3rd base now.
Is this one... Okay, this one's just started. But it's on the double Therium. Which is to be expected. That's what you need. Oh, wow. Yeah, he's taking a 4th.
Double expand.
I remember Oriole speaking about the... what is it? If it's a vertical spawn and Celestials are at the bottom of Furious Resolve and the opponent is at the top right here, I think it's viable, or is it? I think if it's flipped, it's an auto lose because they don't have access to the speed camp or something. I forget what it was, but it was a very detailed, like, okay, because it's a
if you're in the bottom left and the Vanguard is in the top left, they can just like proxy around your speed camp, and their units can get there faster than your units can. So pretty impossible.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's like next level map design analysis that I just was not ready for when he told me. I was like, dude, you've put much more thought into this than than I thought was than I never even thought about. Like, man, I like the fact that there's differentiated camps. Like the 12 and the 6 are different from the 3 and the 9 for the camp buffs, but it really does matter a whole lot. But I also don't want them to get rid of these 4-player maps. They're very interesting and they add a lot of variety. It seems like you almost get three maps in one, just because
I think the map itself is kind of fine. If they just make it so that only the... Well, I guess if they force crossband only, it's probably fine. I do like this middle with the 2 vision camps showing the siege camp.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think if they got rid of these cliffs, it would be a lot more similar to Ruination, or what I would like to see out of Ruination, where like it's something that both players can fight over and both players can have vision of.
Yeah, we already talk about the camp changes on Ruination. Actually, it might be more interesting if there was a Luminite on the top and 2 vision camps where the Luminite camps are at the moment.
Yeah. Demons punching mechs, always cool. So Jay, you saw, like, I think you scouted this army, and that is a lot of Infernal. Magadon's
that's
out.
a lot of stuff. So.
And you see the Weavers are out. Oh no, not the Bobs.
Yeah, this is why I don't do this opener anymore, just because I don't think I might experiment with it a little bit more, but it looks like if you don't do any damage in the beginning, you're just too behind.
Yeah.
Yep, and then if you have Vulcans, they have like a couple Magmadons, just stand with the Vulcans.
Yeah. Nice shield.
Woo. And then with the shield of Vulcans, you have to try to like target fire where the groups of cons are.
Yeah.
This is what I'm trying to do, but yeah. So at this point, the game is over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it was a pretty good game from Bob, but of course he was lucky getting the 1/3 chance that it's a crossbone.
Yeah. So, kind of back to the... Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Back to... Oh, the double lash on the Vulcan. Does the positioning... Like, let's say you do get a close spawn. Does the positioning matter as much for VvI? Like, if the Infernal is top versus bottom, and whether the or like side to side, does it matter which side you get?
It
Yeah,
does matter. At least as Infernal, I always think it's a bad spawn if I don't have the health camp on my side.
If the spawns were top left versus top right, it's pretty much extremely hard for the Infernal to win, just because the access to the double gas is just impossible.
Yeah, there goes the natural. Yeah, and Bob sitting on 4 bases is just he could end the game whenever he wants, I guess. Yeah, there's the GG. All right, GG's.
GG.
Yeah.
What is up, my dudes? It is Thursday in Korea, and we've got a little Jayxp versus SenegaloRuskov on Ruination. There's Jayxp, the blue Vanguard. Here's SenegaloRuskov, the red Infernal player, who is hiding his Hexen behind the Luminite Rock, interestingly enough. Couch casting along with me today is Phlebuster.
Hello.
And Jayxp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that body block is annoying. I respect it though. I also like the little animation that he like throws his head back when he does the howl, and he can do that while he's moving. I don't know that's. I don't know.
I like that detail too.
Yeah. Okay,
So
so
yeah.
before I think you were gone when we were talking about this, but the just from a map design perspective, holding the middle here is like really strong. Phlebuster was telling me, and it makes sense because like you get vision of both Luminite camps, so that means that like if you basically just rally your army to the center here, whichever Luminite camp is getting captured by the opponent, you can instantly react to it. So
Yeah.
the question becomes, would it be better to turn these two Luminite camps into vision camps and turn the vision camp into a Luminite camp so both players can see it, and it kind of like forces more engagements in the center?
Oh, I mean that's an interesting idea. Um,
Because if not, it seems like holding the vision camp is really strong, and it's kind of hard to attack into here because there's only these two ramps, and yeah, you can send flying units up, but it's still really it's still really easy or easier to hold, especially once you start building stuff up here. Like I imagine if a Vanguard was up here, one or two reparamatics or like some flat cannons or something would be so good.
right. Yeah, I mean it would definitely bring new strategies in to see like how to get that point faster
Yeah.
than your opponent.
Oof. Won by the skin of his teeth. Or he left by the skin of his teeth anyway.
If they made that change and then replaced the top and bottom vision camps with health camps to fix the current issue with no healing, then I think this map would actually be very good.
Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering about that when you and I were talking about it, Phlebuster. These vision camps are theoretically nice if you want to like spot something that's going to try and backdoor your main. But otherwise, like, there's not that much that's getting fought over around here. Like, there's nothing. Like, what is this vision camp really revealing? It'll reveal that base, sure, but I think it's not as useful as a health camp would be.
Yeah, the other thing is it checks for the back door because there's no trees leading into the back door, so that's the other use for it. Because you can see the fiends are gonna go through the back door.
Yeah, they're gonna go through the haunted forest here.
Yeah,
Which
if
I
you're holding,
love.
it's like a safety check that no one can get in your back door, but I don't think you really need to have that on the map.
So what's the reaction here? Just turn around and use your bobs to punch the fiends?
Just use the bomb. I mean, if this was like the last patch, it would be a little bit more devastating because they had more health.
Yeah. That was like
I
2 patches ago, right?
Oh, 2 patches, something like that.
Yeah. Oh man, this
Before
Hexen.
the fiend nerf. So this one we fight for the middle. I kind of don't want to lose the middle because he's just gonna camp there and going out is gonna be a disaster.
Swing and a miss with that Nightfall.
Just holding the top actually makes this a lot better for Infernal Tier 1 units because Exos can't really fight up there because they don't have vision. So he can just stand on the edge, ready to intercept.
Right.
Yeah, another Shroud Stone going down. Actually, yeah, it's the more I think about it, the more important it is for an Infernal player to keep this high ground. Just because once you get the Shroud Stone up there, being able to throw down kind of what you were saying earlier, Phlebuster, being able to throw down an emergency Shroud Stone is so good. That's a temporary one, right?
Yeah, and here I believe I think I thought I can win the fight. I know I can fight the turret, and I can't be afraid of a super turret because I can check how much animus my opponent has by clicking on that turret.
Oh, that's
so I know
right.
I could take this fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit close, but nice fight in the end.
Yeah. Those Lancers are so low on health.
Yeah.
It's a shame there's no health camp. Frost Giant. That's okay.
And then I checked for a third base, and I don't see a third base for some reason. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh,
yeah.
I'm more ahead than I thought. So at this point, my idea is just kind of poke.
Wah! Is he gonna go down?
And he misses another one.
Pop. Oh, actually, yeah. Here's another thing. Kind of a random edge case I was thinking about. Jay, you might have the answer too. If one of your units is infested and it's inside of a transport and it dies, what happens to the fiend?
I honestly don't know.
Okay. I want to experiment with that.
No one knows the answer.
Yeah, that's like, I know it's very edge case because you almost never put bio inside of an evac.
Right.
That is.
Oh yeah, I remember this. I decided to like go for the Hellborn, and then I saw a bunch of Magmadons come out. So
double magma.
this was
That
a
was
big
terrible.
mistake, man.
Uh,
But honestly, I wasn't too worried. At this point, I was thinking we're probably even at this point, just because he doesn't have a third base.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
So basically, the advantage I had is gone, but the game is still even. So I knew I was still in the game.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting that he's playing two base. Like, I always try to take the third base here very fast. I feel like it's very important.
Is that just for the matchup, or is that regardless of matchup,
Like,
you always
in
want to
general,
take the third?
Like, all matchups.
Yeah. Whoa, that's a lot of Magmadons getting caught out, and all these units are so slow. They are going to try and stomp on forward. Man, Nightfall only catches one Exo. That was not worth the expenditure. Interesting. I wonder what that line
We
is.
finally have a Hellborn that actually is helping a lot here.
Yeah. Does he have... He has to have Plague Axes by now, right? No, still no Plague Axe.
Does he even have
No Ritual Chamber, yeah. Oh, no, yeah, he does. He does right here.
Oh, yeah.
Just started
Okay,
it.
now it's just starting it. At 8 minutes, that's a very respectable timing.
Mm.
And it's kind of interesting, on a map with no healing, you would think that the infest is like more important.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yes. At this point, I just knew I need to check his unit comp. So I keep you need to keep like poking the army, check out their unit comp, and you just respond accordingly. I believe he went for Miasma. Did he get a Miasma this game?
I think he actually cancelled the Plague Axis and started the Hexen upgrade.
Okay, yes.
It's
So
not, it's
eventually
not
I'll
going,
see
though.
multiple heads.
He's done,
But
we don't
we
see
he's
it.
not doing the Miasma upgrade. So he may be a bit indecisive about what to actually go for.
That's rough. Oh, and he builds the shrine halfway between the Luminite and the Ethereum.
Worst of
Interesting.
both worlds.
So yeah, so I take a fourth base, I take the Luminite camps, just take all the camps. And then I believe the late game comp, especially when I see Hexen, it's gotta be Bio, Atlas, and possibly a couple helicarriers.
Are Atlases coming back into fashion now? I know people haven't been using them for a long time, just because.
Yeah, it's very good against Miasma comps.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Miasma
usually
doesn't really kill them.
usually people didn't build them because they're kind of derpy. Because like when a unit dies, it resets its shot.
Oh.
And so no one really built them, but now it's kind of a necessity because Mass Miasma just does too much damage to all your other units, so you need something to zone them out.
Yeah, and it's also that Infernal was more Weaver heavy, so of course they get very easily countered by Weavers. Now you have more Hexen instead, and Hexen don't really do anything to Atlas.
Yeah, so here I'm checking for a fourth base. I'm like, oh, no fourth base, that's crazy. And in the meantime, taking the very top right base, so I knew this game was probably over at this point, but you can never, with Miasma and AoE being in the game, in this game,
Yeah.
anything can happen, so you still have to play it pretty carefully.
Yep. And you still. Oh, was that a system shock? Yeah.
That was System Shock.
Nice. And that the system shock cleanses the The Infest off, right?
That's right.
So good. I do like the fact that I almost wish that more like primary spellcasters had some kind of autocast thing that's good for your army as like a support spell, but that you want to like kind of keep off of autocast once you get like the mastery training. Like I know the Hexen has the possibility of having like autocast on skulls. Oh no, Medtex, what are you doing? No! Oh no. Anyway.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this position is also really good for Atlases too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's
Wow.
it's a killing ground.
What was
Like, how do you go up there? I have
Yeah,
no
at this
idea how you would go up there.
Yeah, at this point I'm like, I'm so ahead, so I just take pretty much every base I see that I can take. So I take top right, I take the middle left.
Do you ever put atlases up here on the top of the building?
That's a good idea. I just thought I was just too ahead that I don't need to like hold that position.
Yeah.
And then with the Atlases, eventually, like if I see them put Hexen mines next time, I'll probably manually tell the Atlases to shoot at that target area.
Oh, you can do that.
to
I
get
didn't even know.
Yeah.
Whoa! That's so much firepower. Oh, but they didn't. They lashed like. Yeah, that's only one atlas that got lashed.
Yeah, but the thing with Atlases, you have to remember you need sort of like a critical mass of Atlases. You need like 6 or something, or else they don't do much.
Interesting. And that's in response to miasma builds, or is that just kind of part of the core army now?
If they didn't go for miasma, I probably would have gone more Vulcan heavy instead of Atlases.
Yeah. That makes sense. Cool. All right, GG's. All right, everybody. This is another couch cast with Jayxp, and we're our favorite Vanguard player on the couch at the moment, and he's going to be commentating along with me on an IVC, which is always fun to see someone's perspective when they it's none of the races that they play. Well, I'm sure I've actually seen you play as Celestials before, but yeah, how do you feel about IVC on Ruination?
I'm pretty sure on Ruination it should be in firm favor just because the gas access is just so much better for the player on this map.
Do you think the King of the Hill in the middle, that little King of the Hill game, matters as much playing against Celestials, knowing that they're basically like the proxy build race and they can just go forward and build right on top of it if they want to? Or
yes, because they still have the Saber as a siege unit, so I feel like anytime there's like a King of the Hill thing, a siege unit will always do amazing in that.
I thought it was very interesting that this was the first base, or the first expansion that Speedy went for. He went for this one before his pocket.
Yeah, that's interesting for me too, only because you want as much gas as you can get.
Yeah.
And the earlier you can get it, I feel like the better it is.
Yeah. So Phlebuster was saying that it's better to build, even if you're not perfectly straight from your Luminite, it's better to build your shrine right up next to the Ethereum, so your imps they don't have to walk at all to get to. I thought this was a fourth before 3 minutes. I was like, what are you thinking, man?
No, that makes sense to me. I just wonder if there's like an optimal position where you get the optimal number of Ethereum to the optimal number of Luminite. So instead of just building it as close as you can, I feel like there's like a balance.
You
somewhere.
think there's a middle ground in there somewhere that's optimal?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. I bet someone can do the math on it, like 1 hex down from the Ethereum or something. But yeah.
Yeah. I do like what was it? We were on Boneyard where there's the double gas, and someone built like before the Therium patches started popping out, they built the shrine in there, so like the shrine was getting surrounded by Therium bubbles, and like because the Therium bubbles were closer to the center, every time that one got mined out, it was immediately replaced because it fills up the ones that are closer to the center first. So it was like ultra gas, but they never got enriched because they were just being mined out so quickly.
Oh yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, the whole relationship between Infernals and Therium mining has always been like I don't know that does Vanguard have to worry about optimizing their efficiency on resources like that? Like, do you have to pay more attention to where you put your command post to get peak mining efficiency for Luminite?
No, only because the scrapyard exists. And so the only like Luminite efficiency thing you gotta do is like you want 3 on the sides and then 2 in the middle left and 2 on the middle right with 10 bobs.
Yeah.
That's like the only like thing you have to worry about.
I think it's really interesting too how creeping has a different role now that eco has been sped up so much in the 0.2.1 patch. Like now that Luminite mines and really mining in general is just so much stronger, it feels like by comparison that the resources that you get from camps isn't as important. It's still important that you get it just because it's, you know, it's more resources that you can get without workers, but I don't know, does creeping versus not creeping affect build orders all that much anymore now that like the
now
been
less
sped up?
so for sure.
Yeah?
Now less so for sure, especially if the income changes, yeah. I mean, it's nice to have, but I don't think it's absolutely necessary anymore.
Because I remember when they implemented, I think they actually boosted the bounties for the creep camps a couple patches ago, just because they were like, hey, we wanted more people like fighting over creep camps, so we're going to make them more valuable. But it seems like this eco change indirectly has kind of undone that, just because.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like, and it's hard for them to find like the balance. You know, I mean.
Yeah, it's not an easy task for sure.
If they do have testers, I mean, I would think like the testers aren't like at the highest level. From what I understand is that like usually testers don't test for like, they test for things that are intended to be in the game, so like what the developers intended. So they never check for like broken stuff usually.
Right.
And so it's a hard balance, and especially with sometimes how slow they implement changes, it's
yeah, and I imagine at this stage of development too, it's a lot of the focus is on like getting stuff to just work. Never mind like balancing, but like making sure that the footsteps line up with how fast the unit's going, or making sure that I think it was Nano Swarm that was accidentally getting applied to Lancers or something. Like just random stuff where like yeah. So just getting the stuff to function as intended, you're right, probably is taking a higher priority than like these really high level detail tweaks or high level play tweaks. But man, these Magmadons have just been taking an absolute thumping here, but there's so many of them that are charging forward right into the Saber line. I would imagine that Magmadons are not the option you would want to go up against Sabers, just because they get, I mean, the Sabers are anti-heavy, but it looks like it worked.
Yeah. Well, especially since I believe that's the Ascension Matrix.
Yeah.
That gives it surge, so it's giving I think it's a 20% boost.
Yeah, I think it is 20%
to the units, so it's doing even more damage.
We need some kind of a visual indicator though to know the range of that damage boost, because I have no idea how far that aura extends. No idea.
Right.
It could just be like you have to be touching the Ascension Matrix, or it can, I don't know, here. Yeah, it's 60 plus 12, so that is 20%. That's actually pretty far out. It's pretty far away from the Ascension Matrix, and it's still got the,
Oh,
that one
yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
have it. That one... Okay, and there's the GG. Yeah, having that many Sabers proxied is just brutal.
It's brutal.
Wait, he doesn't... So he does have the buff.
Wow, they get an extra, how much extra? 12?
An extra 12 damage,
Wow.
yeah. And this one...
That's a lot. That's a lot. And it's on it's on the base damage too, so it'll do more damage to like Gaunts and...
Yeah, not on the bonus. I can't
And
click any
some
more
stuff,
units,
yeah.
but yeah, GG's.
Yeah.
I don't think I've
He's
seen them
Russian.
on I don't think I've seen them on the Discord, and I'm assuming MAC is American because I never see him on Twitch when I'm awake.
Yeah, it's just Russian.
Oh, Russian guy. Okay.
Yeah, Russian, yeah.
Russian, American, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is he gonna get the body block? He does.
Anyways, I believe the timing for this, it depends on... I believe it's 46 seconds is the timing to block now. So if you go earlier than 46 seconds, then it's wrong.
Gotcha.
The time doesn't work, because it's 450, so I believe they get 450 at 46 seconds.
Is it 450 they need or 350?
450. 450. So they nerfed it... yeah, it's 450, I believe.
Yeah.
And they nerfed it pretty heavily.
Yeah, they did. And that's... Oh, man. So I get where that nerf came from, just because Celestials could hold down the Argent button and, you know, they would just vomit out waves and waves of Argents. But it seems like that extends the early game for the Celestials quite a bit, which is... I get that was like the intended thing, but it seems like it really limits what they can do in the early game. In the first, yeah, here we are. We're in 2 minutes, and there's not really many options for the Celestial player for like different things that they can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely boring. I mean, like, you build... I mean, I believe it's like a minute or something to build the array.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, you just kind of sit there for like the first 5 minutes.
Now we see, yeah, okay, we're at, what was that, 205 when we saw the first creation chamber going down.
Right.
Meanwhile, back here, I mean, the Vanguard player, like, you have so many options. You can go barracks into mech, or just, you know, double racks, or expand, or you have all these different branching paths that you can go down, but I think what's missing is, now that Celestial Eco has kind of slowed down a bit, they still need something to do during the early game.
Yeah, I agree with that. This game, I just don't like one-base openers for Vanguard anymore. I think it's not the best. So I like to go, I always go CC first. I think CC first is best.
Yeah.
People also like to go bio in this matchup. I personally do not like bio. I think it scales terribly into the mid and late game because sabers are a thing. And once they get sabers out, I think it's pretty much the game is over.
What about Bio Hornet?
Bio Hornet is somewhat viable. Bio Hornet, I haven't personally tested it out, but if I were a Celestial player, I would probably go Saber Cabal at that point. Because the gas mining on Celestial is pretty crazy, actually, so I think you can afford Saber Cabal, and you just lock down all the Hornets.
Gotcha. I wonder if Cabal would waste, if it's on autocast, if they would waste the gravity flux on Sky Mines, or if Sky Mines can they be gravity fluxed? I don't know.
Oh, are Sky Mines considered units?
I don't know. That'd be a really interesting experiment to run. Like, if Cabals walk past Sky Mines, do they waste energy on gravity fluxing them down?
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Also, right now, Sky Mines are bugged. They're supposed to cost 25 Luminite, but they're free right now.
I think they're supposed to be free.
Someone told me they're supposed to cost 25.
All right, I'll double check that.
Yeah. And actually, I think you can attack that with the Lancers, actually.
From the low ground? Because the Lancer is a ranged weapon? No
yeah.
way.
Because
No
I've
way.
seen a trial where they put the turret at the very edge, and I like tapped that turret with lancers.
That's funny.
Anyways, this game Aurel is going for I believe he's going for his favorite build right now is building the saber push where he builds a few sabers and then pushes with an ascension matrix because he gets the bonus.
Yeah. Does he
I'm
use
pretty
the morph core for the ascension matrix, or
believe so. I think he has to, unless he brings
Yeah.
the arc ship with him. I want to see why he want to bring the arc ship just for the healing, but it is an option. So at this point, if I were the Vanguard player, I'd probably recognize that's the saber push, and I would probably, well, at this point, have it working off a free mech base fine, but I think you do have to have it solared.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I don't think Max Micro is too strong, only because the supply difference is just
Huge.
almost double.
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty sure this army is just gonna get absolutely demolished.
Yeah.
Sorry to say.
No, I agree. Yeah. Which is weird that, like, for such a small army, that's what, 6 Argents and 5 Sabers is, 100, we're at 120 supply now. Like, it seems kind of like a low unit count for such a high supply, but it do be like that.
Right.
Do we have upgrades on the Argents? No upgrades on the Argents. Interesting. We don't have
That's okay. I mean, the firepower. I mean, the Ardents are really more there to tank more than anything. The firepower is, of course, just the sabers, and I believe that's the morph core for the Ascension Matrix. He's just trying to save the morph core. Yeah. Yep, and there goes this Starforge. That's okay. He's building Starforge just to reinforce with sabers.
No. Oh, he's gonna prime it.
So,
Yeah.
so they're just gonna, it's gonna be his primary building, and then he's gonna build an Ascension Matrix probably next to it. Because I believe the building spawns with a Cascade Field, and then he's gonna make a link node battery up.
Yep. But now he's down on red power, which is a feels bad moment because this is gonna build so slow. Look at that.
Something feels bad moments. The thing is, though, even if it's building, you can surge it, and you still get the bonus from the surge.
Ah, that's right. I forgot that you can surge buildings that are under construction. That's really so. Let's say you're. By the way, the model for the Ascension Matrix as it's building looks really cool. But say you're the Vanguard player and a Celestial player like pushes into you and drops down an Ascension Matrix. Do you try to target down the Ascension Matrix while it's slow building, or do you continue the fight?
Yeah, I do if I'm close enough, only because they take extra damage when they're building.
They do?
And yeah, they take extra damage when they're building, so it goes down pretty fast while they're building.
Yeah. That, and then, like, the swing, the 20% damage boost is pretty wild.
It's pretty a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if Sabers actually got nerfed. I feel like Sabers are too much of an all-rounder. They do pretty much everything. On the ground, at least. So, I wouldn't be surprised if it got nerfed.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that the, like, Atlases as the Vanguard siege weapon are better for, like, anti-infantry just because they get that upgrade that does the dot, and the AoE is more like they have a bigger AoE essentially, and the Infernal Siege, the Hellborn is anti-structure. So yeah, you're right. I think the Saber is a little bit too Swiss Army knife.
Right.
I don't know how you would change it though. But anyways, GG's.